Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to this month's webinar for National Nutrition Month. The topic is Savor the Flavor of Eating Right with Trendy Foods, and our presenter is Jackie Berkovich, and she's a registered dietitian nutritionist and a health coach with Strategic Health Services. Jackie?
Thank you, Dawn. So today I want to start out by talking about the new Dietary Guidelines 2015-2020. These guidelines are released every 5 years by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, and the Department of Agriculture, USDA. These are the recommendations for food and beverage consumption for people 2 years and older, plus those with chronic diseases, based on the most recent scientific evidence. So you may ask yourself, why should I care about these dietary guidelines? And the reason is they influence everything around us. It provides us with guidelines on what to eat based on the most current scientific research. It provides us with guidelines for public health agencies, healthcare providers, and educational institutions to establish the basis for federal government's nutrition policies and programs. So if your kids go to school and eat the school lunch, that means they're part of the school lunch program. If you participate in WIC, then you're directly affected by these policies. It also directly affects the food we eat and drink because industries have to reformulate their products to meet these new guidelines. So the purpose is to promote health, prevent chronic disease, and help maintain a healthy weight. So I'm going to focus on 5 main points that has changed in the dietary guidelines. The first point is follow a healthy eating pattern across a lifespan. So the message is the same, where you want to incorporate fruits and vegetables, whole grains, lean meats, low-fat dairy, and all food and beverages matter. The second point is focus on variety, nutrient density, and amount of food and portion size. So you want to make sure that you get a variety of fruits and vegetables and whole grains, the low-fat dairy and lean meats, and healthy oils. Also, you want the biggest bang for your buck, so that's why you want a variety to get all the nutrients possible. And then you want to eat to your appropriate calorie level and paying attention to portion sizes. The third point is limit calories from added sugar, saturated fats, and reduce sodium intake. I'm going to talk more about this in the next slide. The saturated fat is the same from before. You want to limit it to less than 10% of your calories per day. The fourth, shift to healthier food and beverage choices. And I'll talk about that more in another slide. And the fifth point, support healthy eating patterns for all. So everyone plays a role in creating and supporting healthy meal patterns. If it's at home, in schools, in the community, and even at work. It's all important. So I want to talk about the biggest changes that you're going to see. Cholesterol, that's a big one. Previously, the recommendation was to limit your cholesterol dietary intake to 300 milligrams per day. However, now there is no limit to limit your dietary cholesterol. And the reason is there's a lack of scientific evidence to show a relationship between dietary cholesterol and your serum cholesterol. This is based on the 2013 AHA-ACC guidelines on lifestyle management to reduce your cardiovascular risk. The next point, limit added sugar. For the first time ever, the dietary guidelines place an exact number of how much added sugar you should have in a day. And their recommendation is less than 10% of your total calories per day. This is a big one. You're going to start seeing a lot of changes in your products to try to limit the added sugar. Next, sodium is pretty similar from before, where you want to limit your daily consumption of sodium to 2,300 milligrams per day. However, if you're 14 years or younger, it's going to be based on age, sex, appropriate, tolerable upper limit. And then the recommendation, if you do have a chronic disease, to limit it to 1,500 milligrams per day. The next point, coffee and caffeine. For the first time ever, they place a recommendation for coffee and caffeine. It is safe to consume 3 to 5 8-ounce cups per day, or up to 400 milligrams per day of caffeine. However, if you're a child, an adolescent, or a woman who is pregnant or considering pregnancy, you should not consume high levels of caffeine. Also, if you are not already consuming coffee or caffeine, it's not recommended to incorporate it into your healthy diet. These recommendations are based on the analysis of usual intake data from What We Eat in America Food Survey and the N. Haynes Dietary Survey from 2007 to 2010. And they found that less than 10% of individuals consume more than 400 milligrams of caffeine per day. The last point is shift to healthier foods, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. And that's the same concept from before, just a new term. So let's talk about that shift to healthier food. So you want to shift to a variety of fruits in your meals or as snacks. Shifting to more fruits as a snack or part of your meal or even as a dessert. Shifting to more whole grains and away from the white refined grains that don't have the fiber in whole grain. Shift to increasing your dietary intake. Research has found that people are lacking in their dairy intake, so you can incorporate milk into your meals or even adding yogurt as a snack or part of your meal. Shift to a variety of lean meats like fish, poultry, eggs, nuts, etc. And then shift to healthy oils like canola oil, olive oil. And you want to shift away from less saturated fat, less added sugar, and less sodium. So now that I've talked about the new changes to the dietary guidelines, let's talk about those trendy foods. So these health foods are on the rise at grocery stores. And this is due to the increased need for foods that are allergen friendly. Maybe you're on a new diet, or just out of popularity. Maybe some celebrity is promoting these new products. So the question that you might ask yourself is, are these products really healthy? Or are you wasting your money on things that are just upcharged because they're popular? So I'm going to discuss superfoods, Greek yogurt, ancient grains, coconut products, and milk alternatives. So first, what is a superfood? You hear that everywhere now, promising curing powers, more energy, healthier skin. Maybe you see it on Dr. Oz or commercial or some celebrities talking about it. It's true that foods do provide a power punch of nutrients. However, it's just not one food that is going to give you all the benefits. It's the combination of nutrients that you get from all food groups. So let's talk about some of the vitamins and minerals that you get from superfoods. So vitamin A, it helps with your eyesight, your immune system, and growth. You find it in apricots, carrots, sweet potatoes, and some green leafy vegetables. And those are kind of in your orange, red kind of vegetables and fruits. Vitamin C helps with growth and repair of your tissue. You'll find those in the berries and citrus fruits like oranges, grapefruit, kiwis. Vitamin E, it's an antioxidant and it helps protect your cells in your body. And you find them in a lot of foods like vegetable oils, cereals, meat, poultry, eggs, some fruits and vegetables. And you also do get a lot of fiber when you consume fruits and vegetables. Next, let's talk about omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. You hear them everywhere, and you may wonder, what are they? So they are polyunsaturated fatty acids. They're important because they may help lower your risk for heart disease, arthritis, and even with memory loss. So let's first talk about omega-3 fatty acids and omega-6 fatty acids. They both are called essential fatty acids because your body doesn't make these. You have to consume it through your diet. So where do you find omega-3 fatty acids? Well, there's 3 types. The first one, ALA, alpha-linoleic acid. These are found in plant foods like canola oil, flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts. The other 2 are DHA and EPA. They're found in oily fish like salmon, tuna, trout, and then omega-6 fatty acids. You can find them more readily in your diet. You'll see them a lot in plant oils like safflower, sunflower, corn oil. So how do you incorporate superfoods into your meals? It's simple. Breakfast, you can add fresh fruits into your high-fiber cereal or add vegetables into your omelet. For lunch and dinner, you might have a nice salad with a nice piece of salmon and then a fruit on the side. And then as a snack, you might have some fruit with some nuts. So now let's talk about Greek yogurt. You see it everywhere in the stores now. When you go into the dairy aisle and you just see the whole wall is taken up by yogurt. The reason is Greek yogurt has so many health benefits. It's high in protein. It provides calcium, potassium, zinc, and some B vitamins. And what's great is 1 cup of Greek yogurt has 23 grams of protein. That's huge, especially if you don't consume meat. It's a great way to get protein in. It's equivalent to about 3 ounces of meat. Also, you may wonder why, if you don't tolerate lactose, but you do tolerate yogurt, you might wonder, how come I can't have ice cream or milk, but I can do yogurt? The reason is Greek yogurt has bacteria that goes through a fermentation process where the bacteria eats the sugar, which is the lactose of the yogurt, and then it allows you to digest it because you're not getting that lactose. So Greek yogurt also provides digestive health. It coats your stomach and protects you from different digestive issues. And you also want to make sure that you look at the label and it has live active cultures on the label. Some examples are lactobacillus, bifidobacterium, and also you may wonder, what do I pick on the shelf? There's so many options. And I would recommend choosing plain, either if it's non-fat or the 2% Greek yogurt, and add your own fruit in. Oftentimes when you buy the yogurt that has the fruit on the bottom, they're adding extra syrup in there. So you're getting extra sugar added in that yogurt. Also, you see the yogurts that have granola or candy or different toppings. That turns that healthy Greek yogurt into almost a candy bar. So I would recommend choosing plain and then adding your own fruit in. Next, I want to show you what to look for on the label when you want to look for live cultures. So on the left-hand side, you notice where it says, with active yogurt cultures, including L. acidophilus. So you want to make sure that you look there and see that it says live active culture. If it doesn't, that yogurt is not going to protect your stomach like those with live cultures. Next, let's talk about what is a whole grain. You hear that word everywhere and you might think, what exactly is it? So I'm going to show you. This chart is from the Whole Grain Council. So in order for it to be considered a whole grain, it needs to include all 3 parts. The left-hand side is the bran, which is the outer protective shell. It's going to have the fiber and some B vitamins. The right-hand side on the top, the endosperm, that's most of your starch. It's going to have your protein and some vitamins and minerals. When you buy white bread, that's all you're getting. They take out the good bran and the bottom germ. So all you're getting in white bread is the endosperm. The bottom is the germ. That's where all the healthy oil is of the grain. And then you get some protein and some B vitamins. So you want to make sure that when you're looking at the label, you look for 100% whole grain. If it's corn, wheat, rice, whatever it is, make sure it says 100% whole whatever grain. And then check, see if there's any fiber in there. That's going to give you a clue also if it does have the whole grain. Now let's talk about the word ancient grains. And this name was coined because it existed a long time ago and it has been largely unchanged since the beginning of time. So let's talk about some of these ancient grains. It's great because it's a great way to incorporate more whole grain options. Amaranth is the first one. It's high in protein and it's one of the only grains documented to contain vitamin C. When you cook it, you want to make sure to gently boil for about 15 to 20 minutes. It never fully loses its crunch. So if you are familiar with caviar, it kind of has that same bite where it has that little pop without that salty taste. You can add it to soup, salads, even to cookie batter just to get a nice crunch and add some protein. The next one, barley. This one has a tough outer husk, which is inedible. So you want to look for hulled or hullless barley. If you don't, then you're going to get pearl barley, which is not a whole grain. It's missing that fiber. And what's nice is the fiber is distributed throughout the grain. It does take a while to cook, so you want to maybe do a large batch so you're not wasting time. And these can be added in a lot of dishes like stir fries, soups, stews. The next one is buckwheat. It's also called kasha, which is a popular European grain. It's often used as an alternative to oatmeal because it's gluten-free and it's high in protein. The next one, bulgur. This one cooks quickly because it's pre-cooked and then dried. And this is a very popular Middle Eastern grain, which is called the Middle Eastern pasta. And you find this in tabbouleh salad. The last one, farro. It's also called emmer. And you want to look, it's found in both pearled and semi-pearled form, but you want to look for the whole farro. And this is found in risotto dishes. So these are just some grains, but there's so many you can look for in the grocery store. So now let's talk about those popular coconut products. These have been the biggest rage recently because of their medium chain triglyceride composition. And I'm going to talk about the most current research regarding coconut products. And I'll discuss coconut water, coconut milk, and coconut oil. First, I want to talk to you about the coconut water compared to a popular sports drink. So they're both at 1 cup, and you notice as you go down, the sodium of the coconut on the left is about double the sodium on the right. And then look at the very bottom of the coconut water. The potassium is 600 milligrams per 1 cup, and the energy drink is just about 25. So you want to be mindful that if you do have a heart condition, you want to be mindful of how much sodium potassium you're consuming. And just being aware that there is a limit to how much potassium you should have in a day. The recommendation for an adult without chronic disease is 4.7 grams or 4,700 milligrams of potassium per day. This recommendation is from the Dietary Reference Intake from the Food and Nutrition Board and the Institute of Medicine. So with that being said, just be mindful that when you are consuming coconut water, you are getting a lot of potassium. Now I want to talk to you about coconut oil. This chart is from the Canola Council, which is great because it compares various dietary oils and fats, and you see that the breakdown of, in red, the saturated fat content of oils, the polyunsaturated fat, and the monounsaturated fat of all oils. And you can see that a lot of them have combinations. But I want to focus you on the very bottom, coconut oil. If you see in red, it's 91% saturated fat. So I just want you to be mindful that when you're consuming coconut oil, most of it is coming from your saturated fat. And the recommendation from the Dietary Guidelines is to avoid saturated fat, including tropical oils like coconut oil, and you should replace them with unsaturated fat like polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats to reduce your risk of heart disease. Also, according to the 2013 AHA-ACC guideline on lifestyle management to reduce cardiovascular risk, the recommendation if you're trying to lower your LDL, there's strong evidence to further reduce your total saturated fat intake to 5 to 6% of calories per day. However, the dietary guidelines is still at 10%, but the AHA guidelines is to further reduce it to 5 to 6% of your daily calories. Next, I want to talk to you about milk alternatives. These are huge in the market now, and the reason is people are looking for more options that are allergy friendly. Maybe they're looking for lower calorie options or different taste profiles. And I'm going to discuss soy milk, almond milk, rice milk, and coconut milk. You want to make sure to look at the ingredient list with the shortest ingredients, because oftentimes if you look at the back, they may add a lot of flavorings and sugar, and so you want to make sure to find the least amount of ingredients so you don't get so much sugar. First, I'm going to talk about soy milk on the left compared to 1% cow's milk on the right. Soy milk is the most nutritionally equivalent to cow's milk, so it's a great alternative if you're allergic to cow's milk or you just want a different option. They're both at 1 cup. And you see that on the left, soy milk is very low in saturated fat. As you go down, on the left, you see 6 grams of protein for 1 cup of soy milk compared to 1 cup of cow's milk is about 8 grams. So it's pretty close in protein. The calcium is often fortified in soy milk, so it's pretty similar. And this is a great option if you're lactose intolerant, looking for cholesterol-free and low in saturated fat for soy milk. Now let's talk about almond milk. Almond milk is made from ground almonds, water, and a little bit of sweetener. It's often fortified with calcium and vitamin D. And I want to show you a comparison. On the left is almond milk. On the right is at 1% cow's milk. They're both at 1 cup. Notice the calories is a lot lower in the almond milk compared to 1% cow's milk. So oftentimes people choose this if they're trying to look for lower calorie. There's no saturated fat in the almond milk because it's not coming from an animal product, as well as cholesterol. That's also an animal product composition, so that one's not going to have any cholesterol. Look at the very bottom. There's only 1 gram of protein in a cup of almond milk compared to the 8 grams of protein in a cup of cow's milk. So you're not getting virtually any protein when you're consuming almond milk. You want to be mindful of that. And the calcium is pretty similar because it's been fortified. So almond milk is a good option if you're lactose intolerant, looking for cholesterol-free and saturated fat-free, but it's not a great option if you're trying to get the same nutritional profile as cow's milk because there's no protein in there. Next, I want to compare the coconut milk on the left to the cow's milk 1% on the right. Coconut milk is not a great option for kids because it's missing a lot of nutritional value that you get in the cow's milk. If you look at the bottom, there's no protein on the left compared to the 8 grams in 1 cup of cow's milk, and the calcium is very low. So if you're going to consume coconut milk, you're going to need to supplement your calcium in other foods or else you'll be deficient, especially for kids. And then this one does not have any potassium. And so you see the comparison between these two. The last one I want to talk to you about is rice milk. One cup equivalent on both. The left is the rice and the right is the cow's milk. The calories are pretty similar. And I want to point out to you that the carbohydrate in the rice milk is double that of the cow's milk. And then if you look lower, there's virtually no protein in the rice milk. And the calcium in this one is low, but oftentimes it's fortified with calcium and vitamin D. With that being said, I would not recommend this for someone that has diabetes because you're not getting any protein at all, and the carbohydrate is double that in cow's milk. So it's not a good option if you have diabetes, but this one is the lowest allergen-causing milk. So these are the references if you want to look up what I had discussed. This is my contact information. Feel free to contact me if you have any other questions. Thank you for attending this month's webinar. Feel free to contact your health coach today through secured messaging, or you can call 1-800-550-2427. Thank you and have a good day.